It's episode 65 of the Hodgepodge podcast. I'm your host, Doug.
And I'm Dirty A. As the name suggests, we're going to talk about a hodgepodge of topics from movies, music, TV, and other pop culture events.
And on this episode, we'll be discussing a slew of movies, including A Most Violent Year, Black Sea, and Mortdecai. You can reach us at the Hodgepodge Podcast at gmail.com or over on our website, thehodgepodgepodcast.com, or find us on iTunes and YouTube and subscribe. And on our last episode, we were paid a visit by our old friend Matt King, author Matt King.
He's not that old.
That's true, he's not. But our good friend Matt King to come by and discuss the polished turd that was Jupiter Ascending. And we also talked about some comic book stuff with him, which was great. It was a lot of fun, as usual, with Matt. But in general, we've been kind of getting a little behind in our podcasting thing because, life. So I wanted to take this opportunity on this episode to basically kind of catch up with a bunch of movies that we have seen together and then movies that we have seen separately. And only one of us has seen, the other one has not. So I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you people. The majority of these movies are very bad.
Terrible.
Because this is January, February, and that's what happens. So
we do it for you folks.
But we do it for you. And because we have nothing else to do. So I should be writing my next book, but instead I'm shoveling popcorn in my face and going to see terrible movies.
Mortdecai.
And watching Mortdecai. I was going to say terrible movies like Mortdecai. Yeah. So we'll start with Mortdecai. This is the latest flop to star Johnny Depp. Remember when Johnny Depp was a serious actor?
That was some time ago. He was like the avant-garde, like, I only take serious roles. And then enter Pirates of the Caribbean, which apparently he decided he'll take whatever comes his way.
Yeah, he said, oh, that's what money is. Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. I want more of this.
Yep. So that leads us into talking about the Pink Panther. I'm sorry, I meant Mortdecai.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
he's essentially trying to channel Peter Sellers the best he can here.
I mean, for me, I likened it more to a Wes Anderson movie without the most crucial component, Wes Anderson.
Yeah,
and honestly, Mortdecai, this movie is actually based on a series of novels. There was Charlie Mortdecai was a character, and I forget the writer's name.
Bad character.
Yeah, this movie's not good.
No.
It's supposed to be a comedy. It's not good. It's just not funny at all. You said you laughed maybe twice?
Maybe.
I chuckled.
I laughed. Paul Bettany was the best part about this movie. His character Jock. He was funny.
Yeah.
It was fun when he was on screen. There were a few laughs, but nothing about this movie worked. It's just a bunch of recycled jokes and reuse of callback jokes that aren't funny to begin with.
Yeah, the number one joke in this movie is that Charlie Mortdecai has a silly mustache.
It's a mustache, and apparently it is fodder for all kinds of jokes and humor. And guess what? It's just a mustache.
Yeah, it's not. It's it's not good. Basically, I'm not even going to even try and delve into the plot. It's pretty much kind of spelled out in the trailer, but even then it's not because it's so convoluted. It
is. It's pretty convoluted. He needs money. The government needs his help. And he is a
art dealer,
swindler, con man of sorts who the government is relying on to get back some property, basically.
Right. A great cast is in it. Gwyneth Paltrow's in this. Ewan McGregor.
Her vagina is steamed like you wouldn't believe.
Paul Bettany, as Dirty A mentioned. Olivia Munn is in this. Jeff Goldblum puts in a brief appearance in this film. It's a fantastic cast. It's just they are stranded in this terrible, terrible movie. Just not funny at all. The best joke, we mentioned it a couple episodes ago, the best joke, I guess, is when Johnny Depp's character gets arrested and he does the squeezing motion with his hands and goes, how am I not to know that this is not a proper greeting?
They show that in the trailer, and it was funny.
But, you're right, Jock is the best character in the whole thing. He is Mortdecai's manservant / Lothario. Because he gets all the women, and he's hilarious. But it's not. I wasn't even really sure why this was rated R. I mean, it was Well, like
there's a lot of fucks, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, we thought that it being rated R was going to be like this might actually be a saving grace, and it wasn't. It wasn't good at all.
It was actually an R-rated movie that did not call for being rated R at all. I guess it was the content of the sexuality. With
guess, but there's no nudity
cursing,
in it, though.
But
was there nudity?
No.
I thought maybe the farm girl maybe flashed her boobs. Maybe not.
No, even if she did, it would have been unnecessary. It would be completely gratuitous and no need for it at all. So
just a really, really poor movie, and I mean to the point where like articles were probably about Entertainment Weekly where they're like, how could Johnny Depp fix his fucking career? I mean, like, and he's gonna do another Pirates movie. They're doing a fifth one. So it's just
they are. That's how he fixes his career, by the way,
guess. Yeah.
Everyone will see.
And then they're still doing the Alice in Wonderland 2, I think, aren't they? Are they still doing that?
I don't know. Whatever. This is directed by David Cope,
who did screenplays for.
Yeah, he's done some movies. He actually worked with Johnny Depp before in Secret Window.
Oh, okay.
The adaptation of Stephen King's
I didn't know
short story. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So this wasn't his first dealing with Johnny Depp.
But he's been a screenwriter, a big screenwriter for a long time. I believe he did Jurassic Park. I think he wrote the screenplay for Jurassic Park, and nice. He did like the Raimi Spider-Man movies. I think he worked on those.
Maybe he should stick with screenwriting.
Yeah.
If I don't know if did he write the screenplay too? No, he did not. So this isn't really his fault in that aspect.
Yeah.
And who knows how true to form this is to the books you mentioned.
Yeah.
To the actual Charlie Mortdecai character, the original creation. But this movie is a turd blossom.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Ewan McGregor is in it, a throwaway role.
Yeah, he's not that great in it.
He's phoning it in the entire time.
Yeah.
Here, Gwyneth Paltrow. She's Gwyneth Paltrow. She's almost forgettable in every role she's in. Let's be honest with you.
Nice.
I mean, I'm just saying, she's nothing special.
It's late in the day and Dirty A's getting saucy.
I'm just saying, her best role she's ever had was Headless.
Okay, so Mortdecai, skip it. It's not even really worth watching on Redbox or anything like that, which I'm sure it'll be on in like 2 minutes. It's funny because what I do is I go back and repost my reviews from the Hodgepodge site to my Doug Reviews site.
Mm-hmm.
And this is talking about bad movies that we've seen. And I reposted my one for Black Hat, and it allows you to automatically post onto Google Plus. You know, and my thing for that was, is this movie even still out? Yeah. Here's my review.
For a week.
Yeah, it's like, here's my review of Black Hat. Same thing for Mortdecai. I don't even think he's even in the theater anymore.
No, it's not. And rightfully so. It was a couple of laughs that aren't worth writing home about.
Yeah.
Certainly not worth paying money to see.
No,
Watch the trailer.
Yeah.
Giggle, and that's about all you'll get.
Basically, yeah. Let's talk about a movie that we saw that was really good. That we really liked. This was a movie that I think the National Board Review named it its best movie of 2014. I wouldn't go that far, but it was an excellent movie.
That's taking it far, but it certainly was. It exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, it was. This is A Most Violent Year, and this is a movie that I just told her today before we started recording. I always want to call it either A Most Wanted Man or A History of Violence. I can't remember the title. A Most Violent Year is it's a movie by J.C. Chandor, who did Margin Call and also did All Is Lost last year,
which I saw that,
or 2 years ago, 2013, right?
That was
2013.
Yeah.
With Robert Redford.
Yeah,
I still haven't seen it yet.
That's an interesting movie. It's a good one.
Yeah.
But there's hardly any dialogue in the movie at all. He wrote and directed this.
Yes, he did. Yeah. And A Most Violent Year, on our last episode, Matt joked, another movie that has the ending in the title. No, it really doesn't. What it refers to is that it's set in 1981 in New York City, right, which was
the height of
it was one of the highest crime, highest violence years in New York. So that's why it's called A Most Violent Year.
Right, and this is a very specific drama.
Yes.
But it's so refreshing because it's at least as far as what we've seen on screen recently, so original.
Yeah, there were a lot of great movies last year. Like Imitation Game. Theory of Everything. Eddie Redmayne was really great in that. But a lot of those movies felt like they were like Oscar bait movies.
Right.
Not to take anything away from them, they're very good movies.
Yeah.
Imitation Game was our best movie of the year.
Yeah.
But it felt like it's like we're going for the Oscar on this movie. History. I just did it. A Most Violent Year is. It's just a solid adult drama, and they don't really make those anymore. I'm like, remember when they used to make those?
It's not trying to be anything else.
It's just a solid drama, and and it actually could have used, I would say, maybe a little bit more humor in it. Maybe it's pretty deadly serious.
I would say no. I would say that this was being what it wanted to be. It didn't want to have that humor. This was a movie that did not want to have that levity.
Right.
I think if it had that levity, it would have actually somehow made the pacing feel slower because you'd get less tense.
That's true.
You'd put yourself a little at ease.
It does. The movie does run a little slow at times. It drags a little bit here and there, but it's an excellent film. Besides that, it stars Oscar Isaac, and he plays Abel,
a Jedi.
Oh, not in this one.
I'm sorry.
He plays Abel, who is an immigrant who runs his own heating oil business.
Right. So he's taken this over from his father. It was his father's business, and he has.
No, it wasn't. No, he was a driver first. You're thinking of the other guy.
Oh yeah,
you're thinking of the guy, his friend.
This guy was a driver. That's right.
He was, and he.
It's been a while, folks.
Yeah, he managed to purchase the business.
That's right.
From her father.
From her father. That's right. Her father kind of ran it.
Yeah.
Sketchy.
Yeah.
And he's trying to be a
decent
very
guy.
Straight arrow kind of about
we are referring to as Jessica Chastain.
Yes.
She plays his wife.
Yes.
And her father, she's from the Bronx, and her father is a gangster of, I think, maybe a low-level gangster, enough
teamster.
Yeah, he's enough of a gangster that it can be brought up. Do we need to go to him for money?
Yes.
So he's high enough.
It's not like he was some crime boss.
Right. And Abel is trying to run his business as clean as possible and as straight as possible.
Yeah, he's taken the business on and said, "I'm going to do it a different way."
And what's happening is that somebody is robbing his trucks. They're holding up his drivers at gunpoint and then stealing the trucks and then selling the heating oil to competitors or whoever wants it
at low prices. So basically, we're talking like thousands of gallons of fuel every week are getting stolen from him.
Right.
And he is putting himself in a position almost where he's powerless to stop it because he's not willing to do what most you're saying needs to be done,
which is to arm the drivers.
So you have a lot of different facets in this movie, right? You have his family element. You have Oscar Isaac and his family element. You have his past. You have him trying to hold his company together. You have him trying to deal with the Teamsters who are just about to tell him to go fuck himself and pull their drivers completely from his business because he won't let them arm themselves.
Right.
And you have all these things kind of coming together.
More than that, he's also trying to close a deal for
the land deal.
For a land deal, which will expand his business greatly,
exponentially. Right.
Yeah.
It gives him access to a port to directly get the oil in from overseas.
Right. And he's also has to deal with legal trouble in the form of District Attorney, who's played by David Oyelowo, and he is trying to clean up corruption in the industry.
Yeah, he's trying to make a name for himself to be basically a big politician.
Right.
And in doing so, he is trying to clean up. His badge of honor that he's chosen to run on, his platform, is to clean up this oil industry.
Right.
And part of doing that, he has chosen to indict Abel, and his business.
Right.
So yeah, a lot of different moving parts here.
Yeah.
He's kind of like Oscar Isaac's, kind of like I've mentioned this to you. It's like Bobby Ewing, from Dallas.
Yeah.
He's trying his best to stay straight in an industry that is so corrupt, and in a family that is so corrupt.
Right.
But he's doing his best single-handedly trying to hold it all together. Yeah. And spoiler, you can't always do it.
Right. Yeah. The thing for me is that I was always waiting for the other shoe to drop. I was waiting for them to reveal something.
Yeah.
That never really came.
Yeah, they sort of did. I mean, they
yes and no.
They referenced a couple times that he did know, even in his own mind he tried to convince himself he wasn't. He did know that he was playing a little dirty.
Right.
He was aware of that, but for the most part,
because his wife runs the books.
Yeah, for the most part, which that part he didn't know about.
Right.
But for the most part, he is doing this straight.
Right.
He is pretty much at face value. What you see is what you get.
Right.
But
that's the thing. I didn't feel that way through the movie. Like I felt that there was something that was going to happen.
Right.
Another shoe was going to drop.
I think that was part of the nuance of the movie.
Yeah.
Is that
you're not.
Do you really know this guy?
Yeah.
Is this really who he is? I think that was part of the thing.
Albert Brooks is also in this, and he's great and has a great hairpiece in this as Abel's lawyer.
Yes, the family lawyer, the business lawyer. He was the dad's old lawyer. He's kind of been the lawyer of this business for a while now. So he knows all the ins and outs, all the little tricks.
We're not going to spoil too much of it, but it's just a really gripping, really good movie. Great performances all around. Fantastic cast.
Yeah. It has some problems.
It does, yeah. It's like I said, it does drag in parts.
Yeah, there's that one. There's that one scene that culminates in that big chase,
right?
And then just inexplicably.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
but you think he's going to do something?
So his trucks are stolen. Everything's leading up to this. He figured he's finally actually red-handed caught someone who's stolen the truck. To which, in this chase, someone has died, and he just kind of lets the guy go.
Yeah,
and it's. You could argue that that's just his character, but at the same time, it's like, well, you don't have to kill him, but you also don't have to just let him walk away.
Right.
So it's not a perfect movie, but it is really well made. It is. There's really not much of a score or soundtrack in this movie. It's all kind of just flat out as it is, which is kind of sometimes I think that might hinder the pacing a little bit, but at the same time, there are some great tunes in this movie, like the opening one, with Marvin Gaye, and Doug and I were both at the beginning, like this. It's a great little tune, but yeah, there's not much wrong with this movie, and it's extremely solid. Is it, like you said, not best picture quality, really, but definitely one of the better movies. It's the top echelon of movies of 2014 for sure. I wonder if I had this in my running, if it would have made my top 10 or not.
It's possible,
maybe.
Yeah. Another movie that we saw that we really liked, but was another movie that had its issues, keeping it from being, a really great movie. But it was a movie that was a lot of fun and really, really another tense movie.
Yeah, and another original story.
Yeah, this was Black Sea, starring Jude Law. This movie, I believe, has been out in the UK for a little bit, but it's finally come over here to America. And Kevin MacDonald is the director.
Okay, I was just looking at some of the stuff he's done. So State of Play, Last King of Scotland, which was an amazing movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's done some good stuff.
Black Sea focuses on Jude Law's character, Robinson, who he's a salvage guy who works with submarines.
Yeah.
And his company lays him off at the very start.
He works for a big corporation.
Right.
Yeah.
And now that things are going more robotic and more automated and stuff like that, he gets laid off. And another one of his friends who was laid off.
What is the term they use in the UK for
sacked?
No. I can't think of the word they use. It's anyway. Get that out.
So another one of his friends who was laid off tells him the story of how he was working a job and they think they found this lost Nazi sub in the Black Sea, which was supposedly full of Russian Soviet gold.
Right, so the story was, that Stalin had sent this submarine full of gold. It was in...
Well, no, it was a Nazi sub.
Well, sorry, vice versa. Yeah. It was en route between Stalin and Hitler, and somewhere amidst the war of
it was
of what was happening then. Did it get sunk or
no? Yeah, what happened was it was almost like protection money,
right,
for the Soviets. So Hitler ended up attacking them anyway, and then the sub goes down, and full of gold, and it was lost. People didn't know where it was, and so this guy, I forget the guy's name, but he was Jude Law's friend. He's like, yeah, we think we found it.
Kind of over beers. It's kind of like a very loose conversation that these guys are having because they've all been sacked.
So what happens is that they say, oh, there's this guy who can fund us, and they want to do an independent expedition, which it sounds great, but you're in international waters. People could lay claim to this stuff. So it's a very, very risky.
Not even lay claim to it, but basically, you could be, the sub would probably be destroyed as like a spy vessel.
Exactly.
If it was discovered, and you would think the country would basically think someone's coming to start a war, basically.
Right. So it's a very, very risky proposition, and they decide to take on this job, and they split the crew. It's half British, half Russian. And,
right, and that the reason for that is because the sub is Russian.
The sub is Russian, and they're also going to be in Russian held controlled waters, basically, over there. And it's it kind of, and then also an American played by Scoot McNairy, who I said is basically Paul Reiser from Aliens. He
really is.
He works for the financier, and he gets put on the boat too. And he brings up a good point. He says, basically, Jude Law lays it out. He says, there's upwards of $40 million on this thing. Everybody gets an equal share. And this guy, Daniels, played by Scoot McNairy, points out, what happens when these guys figure out that
one less person?
One less person means
one less.
The less people that are on this ship means more money for them, and
which is actually, I mean, that is the crux of the movie. But
that's not really what happens.
It went less that way than I thought. When
exactly.
I was going into the movie, it was.
I thought it was going to be more like 10 Little Indians, but it wasn't.
No.
There is a little bit of that.
That was kind of the fulcrum of how everything started.
Right, and then everything kind of goes to shit. Yeah. And it's a very, very tense movie. Like all sub movies, it's very claustrophobic. There's a few plot holes here and there where you're kind of like, right. But it doesn't really ruin your enjoyment of the film. It's a really, really great film. Jude Law turns in a great performance again. He's been having a great run.
He was really
lately.
good. Yeah.
Dom Hemingway.
Dom Hemingway was fantastic, and he was awesome.
And he also did Side Effects,
which was a great movie in 2013.
So he's been having a really good run of films, and it's just Scoot McNairy is good as always in this. I love Scoot McNairy.
Who is it that played who started out as the villain? Who was that?
Ben Mendelsohn.
Ben Mendelsohn. Yeah,
he was also he was in Ben Mendelsohn. If you don't know the name, you will know him. He was John Daggett in The Dark Knight Rises.
Yep, and he was really good.
He was really good in this. He plays Fraser, who's their diver.
His character arc was a little weird, a little forced there at the end. I didn't quite follow why this. I don't know how if we explain that. I don't know if it's.
I don't want to give a lot away. I mean, because a lot,
but he has this twist of a character arc that seems to come out of nowhere, but you can probably justify it in the fact that he's dealing with things that will affect him personally versus other people on the ship.
Yeah.
But it's an awesome character. Like he's what brings the most tension to the movie.
Yeah, because they say right off the bat that he's a psycho. He's a psycho, but he's the best diver.
As they're getting their crew together, they're like, "Hey, do we want this guy?" They're like, he's fucking crazy, but yeah, he's good.
Yeah, and there were some inconsistencies with characters and stuff like that. That was one of them. There were some other little plot holes here and there. There's one at the end that, honestly, I call it the Pacific Rim plot hole. Because the Pacific Rim. How did that happen at the end? Yeah. And there's another one where I'm like, oh, I think that guy should have been dead, but it's like but it didn't really detract much from the film. It's still a really
awesome story. It's really well made. It's real dark because you're in a sub or you're underwater.
Right, and I have to say this is the most important thing for me that really really nailed this movie for me. They really captured very well what it's like to be in this deep water diving stuff. I mean, it's the most alien environment you can get to next to being in space because. Yeah. It was very reminiscent of Interstellar for me. It was very reminiscent of Interstellar.
And Alien.
Yeah.
Even with the whole
and Alien too, for sure. Yeah, the first Alien.
The first Alien walking through the ship and stuff.
Yeah, and I was they were talking about like, they're like, we gotta put on the suits, and I'm like, no fucking way. I'm like, not me, no fucking way.
Yeah. As an audience member, you can you kind of feel a little claustrophobic.
Yeah.
You can sense that darkness. Yeah.
Like when Jude Law, they're about to dive, to go on the mission, and he's up on the thing, kind of like Hunt for Red October. He's up on the thing, and you can see the ship's all rusted and shit like that, and then he closes it for like the last time, and I'm just like, no fucking way, not me.
There's not a better way to do it, mind you, but one of the problems I had, again, this is really minute because, again, there's not a better way to do it because they do explain in the movie how dark it is under there.
Right.
But, like, when they go out into the water, they're basically, you can't see anything. Like, we're talking pitch black, but obviously it's a movie, so there has to be lighting.
Right.
So it is kind of lit a lot more than, which kind of made me feel like some people may not understand that they can't see shit except what's right in front of them, that their beam of light is letting them see.
Yeah.
Because it's completely dark down there.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I was peeved me off probably more than it should maybe is that when they're under the water moving the gold, like we're talking about tons of weight of gold, but they're underwater, which means they have no they really have no pressure or resistance, but they're somehow able to guide this thing and push it. I'm like, bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, they have a crane pulling it, yes, but they're like pushing it and guiding this tons of gold. I'm like, no, they could not do that. Yeah. Not with 3 of them, not with 10 of them.
Yeah.
So that to me, that was a little annoying, but like quibbles compared to what the movie gives you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great flick. If you can catch Black Sea, definitely check it out. It's a lot of fun.
This is one of those movies that always kind of pisses me off a little bit that it doesn't get more play. Mm-hmm. Like that people don't hear about this.
But that's like a Most Wanted Man.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
It's a quote unquote foreign film because it's like from England, wherever. But it's like,
they make great movies.
They make great movies, but they don't get a lot of Calvary.
Calvary, top 10 of last year.
Yeah, so it's it's like that. They just don't get a lot of traction, and it's too bad.
It's really too bad because this is an original movie that's just wonderful.
Take another British movie, Death at a Funeral. Which had to get the attention it got because they made a Chris Rock version of it. Which was far inferior.
Oh yeah, but Death at a Funeral, I think, found a little footing. I don't remember in the theater or not, but certainly when it got to video.
I don't know. I mean, if you mention to people, they're probably like, "Oh, the Chris Rock movie." I bet most people. So? I bet most people.
Oh, that is sad.
It might be a little bit better now because of Dinklage, because of his Game of Thrones stuff. So maybe people have sought it out.
Dude, that is a fucking fantastic movie.
Death at a Funeral is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my life.
That is fantastic.
God, it's so good. Yeah, and the Chris Rock version is not good at all.
No.
He did much better with Top 5.
Yeah.
So now let's turn our discussion to some more movies, but these are movies that it'll basically be one man shows here because there's a bunch of movies that I saw on my own that you couldn't make it to, and then vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
I'll start it off with Jenny from the Block and the best comedy of the year, The Boy Next Door. Which is not supposed to be a comedy, but it's the funniest movie of the year. And when I did my review, I was like, I gotta give it that at least. I laughed my ass off.
I was a little sorry to have missed this one, but
it was,
but not in the sense of I thought I was going to miss a great movie.
Right? Yeah, this movie, make no mistake, the Boy Next Door is a terrible, terrible, terrible movie. But it's so unintentionally hilarious that I was just cackling the whole time. Jenny from the Block that's Jennifer Lopez for people who are not in the know. Jenny from the Block plays a high school English teacher who I don't even want to say has an affair, because basically what happens is this good-looking kid moves in next door. For some reason, he's 19 and still in high school, although the guy who plays him is almost 30-something. And then he's played by Ryan Guzman, and as I said in my review, I would have rather it was Luis Guzman in this film. The Boy Next Door, he becomes obsessed with her basically, and they do have sex, and the sex scene's pretty hot for a movie that it's PG-13. Wait, was this movie PG-13 or was it R? I can't remember. I think it was R. I think it was R.
Was it? All right.
It might have been R.
You saw it, not me, buddy.
Yeah, but this was weeks ago. It's R. Okay. It's R. I'm confused because they don't show anything. But there is one scene where they do show something, but it's not Jenny from the Block, unfortunately. Because she still looks great. Jennifer Lopez looks amazing. But
and she does have a lot.
She does have a lot
now.
She
first she had a little.
Yeah, she had a little, but now she's got a lot. Don't be fooled by the rocks that she's got. She's still Jenny from the Block.
Who was it that someone said, if you have to say that you're still Jenny from the Block, you're likely not still Jenny from the Block.
So, but the sex scene is really weird because what's happening is that her husband cheated. Her husband's played by John Corbett. He cheated on her, and so they're kind of getting divorced. Her best friend is the vice principal of the school, played by Kristen Chenoweth, who was from Pushing Daisies, and she's been in Broadway shows. Mm-hmm. Stuff like that. She was in Wicked, I think, the original Wicked. Loved Kristen Chenoweth on Pushing Daisies as Olive. She was great on that show. She plays the comic relief in this, but she's not very funny in this because she's the only one who kind of looks like she gets it. Like she gets it. This movie's fucking terrible. Whereas everybody else is playing it super serious and straight. Jenny from the Block was also a producer on this movie, and I think that helped this go a long way to making her character as guilt-free as possible in this. So she does have sex with the kid, but he basically, I want to say, almost rapes her because she says no about 37 times, and then she gives in and has sex with him, and then of course immediately is like, this was a mistake. Right. And then of course he becomes immediately obsessed with her.
So when she is immediately obsessed,
exactly,
and kooky things,
and he does
many sexual innuendos.
Yes. Oh my god, I love your mom's cookies. Shut up. So. And this is a movie where stuff happens and then it's never referenced again. It's one of those badly written movies. Right. Somebody wrote he writes on the bathroom wall in the boys' room I fucked Claire or whatever her name is, and it's never mentioned again that there was vandalism in this fucking bathroom. And then, in the school.
Not to mention what it references.
Yeah, exactly.
And how she might, the repercussions of how she might get in trouble by that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So It becomes basic schlock, basic schlock. But but goddamn, it was funny. This movie was, like I said, I was cackling the whole time.
What you expected?
I was laughing my ass off. There was a guy who was sitting next to me though who would not shut the fuck up through the whole thing. I mean, I was gonna. If you were there, you probably would have choked this guy out.
Mr. Exposition.
Yeah, he was just like, oh no, this is gonna happen. Oh no, I was like, dude, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to watch this amazingly hilarious movie. So yeah, it's terrible, but check it out on Netflix or something like that when it comes out because you'll laugh your ass off. I just wish that maybe they had played it a little more schlocky, like everybody was in on the joke. But
I love the recommendation. It's a D movie. It's terrible. Check it out.
No, I gave it a C. I gave it a C something.
C minus.
C minus or something like that. Because I said, I'm like, it's a terrible, terrible movie, but you'll laugh your ass off.
Yeah.
Bad. But if you do a sequel, maybe put Luis Guzman in there. Hey man, what's going on? Hey, they put a Q up there, fucking Q with the Q. So why don't you talk about one of the movies you saw?
All right, so a couple weeks ago I went to a screener, and I referenced a screener because that was the only way I would see this movie. Project Almanac.
Project Almanac?
Almanac. So this is it's another one of those found footage type movies. Not found footage because it's kind of real time, but documentary style. Point of view,
handheld camera.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
And the whole thing, and to the point where they have to have exposition into the movie to explain why they would still be filming at this point anyway, right? Like, just really stupid. Like, this trope is overdone. Like, stop, filmmakers, stop.
It's like
we get it. This is your way of being able to make a cheap movie.
Yeah,
it's done. It's over. Cloverfield did it. Cloverfield did it great.
It's like I said. I think
Cloverfield has just been diminishing returns of this.
It's like I said. I've always said that I think Chronicle stretched that about as far as it could go. And
Chronicle was good too. You're
Chronicle stretched as far as it could go.
But it's got to end, guys. Yeah. Stop it. This wasn't good. This was basically so. The story here
it's been kicked around a while too. It was supposed to be something else. And it come out last year.
So the story here, and this is from director Dean. Wow, his name is actually Israelite. Dean Israelite. I'm looking at that correctly. That says Dean Israelite. And the story here is basically I wouldn't call him a prodigy, a smart teen who is trying to get a scholarship into MIT. Mm-hmm. He's being raised by a single mom. His dad passed away when he was like 6 or 7.
Or did he?
No, he did. No, he did.
Oh, he didn't go somewhere in time.
No, he did. Okay.
I thought that was the reveal that he went and did. He went and
right.
I'm stuck in the past. Son, help me.
So he's trying to get into MIT. He's a bright guy, but obviously financially, the family would struggle to get him into MIT without a full scholarship.
So he's Eggsy.
So in order to get the scholarship, he's trying to woo them by creating a science experiment. And his dad, who worked for the government in the field of science, so he's in the attic, kind of going through his dad's old stuff, trying to figure out, if there's anything that he could use to
steal from my dad
to keep building on, just ideas. But yeah, almost. And long story short, he and his friends stumble upon this project that his dad was working on that was for time travel. And guess what? He and his ragtag group of misfit friends get it working and decide that they're going to hurdle themselves to space and time. And this is like one of those movies that throws every time travel trope at you.
Right.
Just keeps going with it, and then makes reference to other time travel movies. Like, see what we did there? We're making a reference to Back to the Future, which is a time travel movie, and we're in a time travel movie.
Yeah.
And so they do that. And obviously, the age-old time travel trope here is the plot of this movie, which is, can you go back and change the past? without seriously fucking up the future.
Right.
But guess what? Spoiler: you cannot.
I actually think that was actually the tagline for Back to the Future 3. Can you seriously go back in time and fix the past without fucking up the future? And that was
spoiler: you cannot.
That was actually on the poster.
Yeah. So what happens is, they set a set of rules up for when they're time traveling. You always have to go with somebody. You can't do it alone. You can't do it. We can only go back so far. And by the way, that is like, at first they can only go back so far, and then they keep kind of pushing the limits, fixing their machine. But what happens here is that the main character, John, his name is Johnny Weston. He's playing a character called David Raskin. Falls in love with a girl, of course.
In the past?
Real time. He's like, he likes this girl, and they go back in the past to this. They start going back in the past. They're just doing it to have fun. They just go have fun. Like, they go to a big music festival, right? And he realizes that he's missed a moment at this music festival to kind of be with this girl. So he goes back by himself to try to rectify that. And in doing so, he causes the butterfly effect, which in turn, like, crashes a plane, causes a plane crash because, like, her dad would have been the pilot, but he was just
right.
So he keeps trying to go fix that. If you've seen the butterfly effect, it's a lot like that, where Ashton Kutcher keeps trying to go back to correct these little things, but every time it changes something else.
So you would say that their safety was not guaranteed?
Yeah, their safety is not guaranteed. That, by the way, great time travel movie.
That's a great fantastic.
Sea safety is not guaranteed. Yeah. This movie, as far as who stars in it, I mentioned Johnny Weston. There's no star here.
Right.
Sophia Black, Delia, she plays the love interest, and I'd liken her to a young Katie Holmes. That's who I think she tried to.
Yeah.
It seems like that's kind of who she's trying to emulate here.
What is she in?
Yeah,
is she on that MTV show?
Let's find out here.
I think she is. She's on that new MTV show.
MTV show?
I thought it was a new MTV show.
She was in The Immigrant. She came out. I don't. Wait, Skins?
No. Scroll back. Oop.
No, I don't see any MTV show here, but.
No, maybe not. Oh no, I'm thinking of somebody else. I think another girl. Another girl that probably looks exactly like her.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Pretty girl, but
yeah.
Well, Sam Lerner, who plays Quinn, is kind of the best friend of the main character here, and then he's got a few other buddies, but essentially this movie culminates with he goes back to see his dad the day his dad gets in a car wreck, which also happens to be like his 6th birthday. He goes back to see his dad to tell his dad, you can't, you gotta destroy this machine. It can't be made. Nothing good's gonna come of this. And they have this heartfelt reunion of he's the 18-year-old, and his dad's like, son, is that you? He's like, yes, Dad. And it just all of the and oh, by the way, how that's being filmed.
Yeah, right.
In POV. I don't
but that's like what they did in Chronicle. Like they had to switch to different cameras to tell the story.
So this is definitely one to skip. There's literally not a single thing new here in this entire movie. It's just every time travel plot device you've ever seen used is used here, just worse. So just skip Project Almanac. It's not an offensive movie. It's not wholly terrible. I mean, it probably would rank about a CC minus if I were to give it a grade. But it's just not worth watching. Go watch something better, like you said. Safety not guaranteed if you want to see a time travel movie, or fucking even if you want a movie about this POV with teens in it. Go watch Chronicle.
Yeah. Another movie that I saw this on a screener as well, that was also inoffensive and not all that great. The worst thing I can say about it is that it was... the best thing I can say about it is that it was mildly entertaining. Was Seventh Son. This is another film that's been bounced around for a while.
Yeah.
We've been seeing trailers for this for about, I'd say, 2 years.
You got it.
2 years. And it's finally been released. It's actually based on a series of books. And the ending definitely leaves it open for future installments. Yeah, a series of books.
Huh, okay.
And it definitely leaves it open for future installments. But the problem with this movie, it's a fantasy movie. Very interesting enough, all the characters have American accents, which is interesting.
That's weird.
That's weird. Usually it's British.
British because this is a medieval type of...
Right.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of hero's journey tropes in here, like there's a lot of Star Wars in there. Like I remember when I read when I was just getting into writing young adult stuff. I went out and sought out, I read the Harry Potter books and I was seeking out other stuff, so I bought Aragon. I got 50 pages in that book and I threw it on the ground. I said, this is fucking Star Wars, except in a medieval setting. I'm not reading this. I've already seen Star Wars. Thank you. It's been done and it's been done better. Mm-hmm. Thank you. That's kind of like what this is. The problem with this movie is that everything kind of happens through like convenience. It's like, it's very contrived. Like things like just kind of happen and there's no real... The character isn't very compelling. It's almost like the Phantom...
Is it basically following around Bridges' character? Is that...
Well, I'll get that. It's almost like the Phantom Menace, where it's like the main character is supposed to be this kid played by Ben Barnes.
Okay, all right.
But the character that is developed is the Jeff Bridges character.
I see.
So it's like... there is no main character in the Phantom Menace, but...
If there were...
Qui-Gon Jinn is the one who's the most developed of all the characters. Right. So, basically, Jeff Bridges plays this kind of witch hunter that they call a spook. And the book series that's based on is called The Spook's Apprentice. That was the first book, I guess, that this is based on. They call it Seventh Son. Because Ben Barnes is the seventh son of a seventh son.
Oh.
And I think they're all supposed to be that.
Yeah.
And so they deal with like witches and like magic and all this kind of crap. And basically Jeff Bridges, it starts out, I will say this too, when we first went, we saw it in 3D. And which is something we didn't even mention the Jupiter Ascending review. We saw we had to watch it in 3D.
Because there was like one part in 3D. Yeah. Like, that was not even working.
But this movie was in 3D, but something was wrong with the projector at first. They actually had to start the movie over again. Because we're like you put the glasses on, and it was really bizarre because usually with modern day 3D glasses you put them on and it's like they're dark, almost like sunglasses. Yeah. Because the picture was so fucked up when you put them on, you could actually still see the green or the blue and the red in the glasses. I was like, that's really weird. And I asked the guy, I was like, are the glasses messed up? He said, no. I'm like, did they give you the wrong glasses? He goes, no, the projector's screwed up. We got to fix it. So they actually ended up starting the movie over. But even when you had the glasses on, it was still blurry. Anyway, so in the very beginning, Jeff Bridges' character is a younger man at this point, and he seals away this woman who's screaming at the bottom of this pit, who ends up being Julianne Moore. And then it cuts to years later. They show the time-lapse photography and the passing of the seasons and all that stuff. And then she turns into a dragon. The blood moon comes out. It's like a red moon. And as it's rising, she gains power back and she turns into a dragon and busts out of the hole. And she's like the head witch, basically. Mm-hmm. And now she's waiting for the blood moon to fully ascend and she's going to rule the earth, whatever, yada, yada, yada. Bridges plays, he's like I said, he's the spook, and he is a drunken guy. And I mean, when he first starts talking, you're like, what the fuck is he saying? He's like, rah, 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 rah. I'm like, what are you saying?
That sounds like Jeff Bridges.
Exactly. So he has another apprentice. Spoiler alert, he dies. In the first 10 minutes of the movie, he dies. Who's played by Jon Snow. Okay. And throughout the whole fight sequence, I just kind of going, you know nothing. So he dies. So then he immediately has to go find a new apprentice because once the blood moon is full, yada, yada, yada. So bring in Ben Barnes, who's another seventh son of a seventh son, and he recruits him immediately, and he has to train him and all this kind of shit. Ben Barnes also he has visions. He has visions of stuff that happens in the future. And he meets a girl who he sees in one of his visions, and she's in a town and they're taking her away because they say she's a witch, and he frees her. he says that, oh, I'm with the spook and I'm going to take her away, blah, 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 blah. He ends up freeing her. It's pretty hot. Alicia Vikander. Alice. She's hot. So she is indeed a witch. And her mother is the sister of Julianne Moore. So, okay. but she's, of course, the good witch. Like, she doesn't want to be evil. She doesn't want to be evil. It's just circumstance. So they send her to go spy on Jeff Bridges and Ben Barnes. And, they have this weird love affair thing going on.
Bridges and this lady?
No. Barnes and Alice.
She's the daughter.
The daughter, right. But at one time, Jeff Bridges was involved with Julianne Moore. Julianne Moore when they were younger.
I bet they were.
So, but then she became evil.
And dragon. Then she turned into a dragon.
She turned into a dragon, tried to bite his cock off, and he said, well, that's the end of that shit.
Yeah, it just became kind of confusing, yeah.
So it's a lot of, and then it turns out that, and spoiler alert, I mean, whatever, you're not going to go see this movie. The box office numbers are in, nobody's seeing this movie. It turns out that his mother, Ben Barnes' mother, is played by Olivia Williams. She's a witch, and that's why he has the visions. He's the seventh son of a seventh son, and he's a witch son. Of course, he has all these magic powers. And, like Julianne Moore, like Jeff Bridges and Ben Barnes go hunt this guy down because like Julianne Moore has like these lieutenants who are all these like if you see the trailer, the guy has 4 arms and Jaimin Honshu's in it. They're like her lieutenants. It's almost like a video game where they go and have to kill the lieutenants first before they go kill the boss. So one of them gets captured in this town. They burn him alive basically, and Ben Barnes like, oh, I don't want to burn the guy alive, and Jeff Bridges like, that's your fucking job, and so. It's stupid. I mean, this kid just basically gets pushed into this job, basically, because he's like, I have the visions, I have to do this. It's like, well, no, you really don't have to. So, it's just stupid. It's like he's the most, like, Luke Skywalker, like for 5 seconds he goes, I gotta get out of this town, I gotta get out of this farm where I am, and stuff. I mean, he literally is on a farm, like Luke Skywalker. He's like, I gotta get off this farm, and then this guy shows up immediately. To
take him away from the farm.
Exactly. Whereas, with Star Wars, they gave it time to breathe. You got to know Luke Skywalker a little bit, get to know him.
He had a little journey,
right? To get to Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? To get to Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah. So, but no, immediately Jeff Bridges goes up. Come with me, okay? Let's go. Because I have no choice. Yeah. So he kind of gets just pushed into it, and it's just a lot of convenience. So anyway, then what happens is Julianne Moore goes, well, we're going to punish this town because they burned our witch brother alive. Oh. And so they go into the town, and of course, Olivia Williams is there. And of course, she fights back at them. I'm like, oh, of course she's there, and she's the witch. And they're going to kill her because she's the mother of the guy. And it's just a whole lot of contrivance and convenience. And it's really not anything we haven't seen before.
So they're fighting for they're basically
domination? Yeah, they're basically trying to... Jeff Bridges and Ben Barnes are trying to stop her from...
ruling the world?
Yeah, she basically wants... If she's alive when the blood moon comes full,
she will be all-powerful.
She'll be all-powerful. So they're trying to kill her basically before
why didn't he just kill her when he threw her in the hole?
Well, that's the thing. He showed her mercy. And the end is like super anticlimactic. And again, spoilers. But so Jeff Bridges, like she has this stone that the kid has, and she steals it from him, and it gives her more illusionary powers. And she fights Jeff Bridges and stuff like that. And then what happens is Julianne Moore goes after the daughter, because the daughter obviously turns on her for love for Ben Barnes. She turns on Julianne Moore. So she goes after her, and then the girl's mother, who's actually played by the girl who played the woman who played Feora in Man of Steel, Zod's female henchman.
Oh yeah, okay.
She plays Alice's mother.
Howdy.
Yeah, she turns into a dragon, and then they fight. So she mortally wounds Julianne Moore. Julianne Moore's already fucked up, and then she's in this room, and Jeff Bridges walks in. He goes, "I'm gonna finish this," and he walks in the room, and he's about to show mercy again, and then Ben Barnes throws a knife at her and it kills her. And she's like, oh. And I'm like, that's it?
She was already going to die anyway.
Sort of, but in a movie like this, you expect her to go, but I'm still powerful. You expect it to be some kind of final duel between the hero and and there's nothing. It's like, that's it? That's the big thing? I was like, this is stupid. So it didn't make any. It was just very anticlimactic. But at the same time, when I was watching, I was like mildly entertaining. Like it wasn't like it. I had seen this basically 2 days after I saw Jupiter Ascending. I was like, I liked it better than Jupiter Ascending.
Yeah, well,
it's not saying much,
it's not
but
high praise.
Right, it's not saying much, but it's not completely terrible, but it's not great either. It's just it's not. It's just.
You're sitting around on a Saturday and this happens to come on TV.
Yeah, maybe watch it. I mean, it's completely inoffensive. It's not. Let's put it this way: Jupiter Ascending will ruin Eddie Redmayne's chances for an Oscar before this ruins Julianne Moore's chances for an Oscar.
All right.
But that's Seventh Son. Seventh Son is wildly inoffensive fantasy movie.
Great. Well, another one that I saw just yesterday, actually, which had some buzz of awards talks for Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah,
is Cake, and this movie opened with extremely mixed reviews.
Yeah,
from critics. I think most people agree that Jennifer Aniston does a solid job with the character, but the overall movie may be lacking. I actually enjoyed it. I'd probably fall into the category that says you could see this movie. The movie itself, it's directed by Daniel Barnes, who I haven't recognized anything he's done except for he did a movie several years ago, Beastly, which is kind of the modern day take on Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Which I actually saw and was it was crap. But yeah. So yeah, this movie stars Jennifer Aniston as when the movie opens up, she is in a chronic pain support group, and as the movie unfolds, you realize she's been in a terrible car accident, and in that car accident, her call it 4 or 5-year-old son died, and it has she's been in chronic pain ever since, emotionally and physically. She's addicted to a lot of pain meds, and she's a very angry woman.
Right.
She is at this point she's living alone, though she does have a maid / housekeeper who's with her daily.
Played by Mila Kunis.
No, yeah, that would have been a good, yeah. No, it's played by Adriana Barraza. She plays the character Silvana, who's kind of the Latina, kind of
the wise Latina.
More of the emotionally helpful, housekeeper type who holds everything together.
She's Alice.
Yeah.
Brady Bunch.
So this tragedy that has befallen Claire, it's basically ruined her marriage. Her husband, who still loves her, but she's basically kind of he's not living there anymore. She doesn't. At the opening of this movie, she doesn't want to be with him, and she, at the opening of the movie, in this support group, you come to find out that one of the members had recently committed suicide, and she was played by Anna Kendrick. And throughout this story, Claire has hallucinations or visions of Anna Kendrick, because she has conversations.
So do I.
Yeah. Conversations with her. Yeah, that's what I told. I went to see it with. I said, she has one vision of Anna Kendrick in her pool, and I said, my dreams of Anna Kendrick in a pool are wildly different. But yeah, so a lot of the call it Claire's inner dialogue is actually taking place as she's talking with this aberration of her imagination here, Anna Kendrick. Sam Worthington plays Rory Collins, who is Anna Kendrick, who played Nina, her husband that she's left behind, her husband and her child, and Claire seeks out Rory to kind of try to understand why Nina did what she did, and to try to work out her own demons. And then they befriend each other because they kind of understand each other. It's not a romantic relationship, mind you. It's just they seem to understand each other. But because Claire is she's going down her fast. She's just spiraling. And at the onset of the movie, she basically has no will to live. She's just going through the daily motions, and apparently, I guess she was a lawyer. She was a kind of a very liberal lawyer out in California. So I think she must have been very successful because it just seems like she's living off of
her nest egg.
Money that she's had. She is the support group leader is played by Felicity Huffman, and then her husband William H. Macy has a little cameo in this. So you have
it's Hufftastic.
No. What I'm trying to think. Stephen Colbert combined to fuse their names together one time. It was Philliam H. Muffman. Yes, he deemed them when they were doing the Brangelina thing. It's like it's Philliam H. Muffman. But he has a very bit part, which was a arguably one of the most dramatic scenes in the movie, where he comes to the door and you realize that he's the person who caused the accident, and he's coming to apologize. He's basically just gotten out of prison, and she basically goes off on him, and it is a really emotional story. It's pretty slow. It is a very slow movie, but it is only an hour and a half. So I think it's hard to say that this is overly original, but as far as having a dead child and the emotional baggage and everything. But I think this is kind of done in a new way. The whole chronic pain aspect is really kind of at the forefront of this, and this is where Jennifer Aniston shines here, because you've certainly never seen her like this before. But you really feel for her character here, and you sense how much pain she's really in, physically, and obviously emotionally. And at the end you have the story basically progresses as you might expect, where she's just on this self journey of awareness, and does she want to move on? Does she want to live? And it culminates with her kind of coming to terms with what's happened, and she kind of contemplates suicide, and then decides against it. And I don't really want to give everything away here, because the name of the movie, Cake, it does have a very significant meaning in the movie.
It better. Cake is delicious.
She likes cake. No, you know what? It's not really giving it away, and if you're going to see it, you'll see it. But basically, a question is posed in their support group at one point. You find out retrospectively. You're not in the support group with them, but the question was posed, like, if you could do anything without your pain, what would you do? And Claire's answer to that question is, she kind of hides in sarcasm and humor, and she says she would fuck the entire Brazilian football team, and Nina's response to that is she would bake her son a birthday cake. And so it kind of shows you that the grounded reality of these people that have this pain, and the simplest thing is so hard for them, and that's where the title kind of comes from, is that Claire kind of comes to terms with who she is, and that she wants to get better and get through this, and be able to do at least the simple things, and find some semblance of happiness. It really is. I personally thought it was a pretty darn solid story. It's nothing wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer Aniston again really does do a good job here, but I'd give this about probably I'd rank this somewhere around a B minus. I think a lot of people will enjoy it. Also, I think a lot of people may actually find it a little sappy. Is maybe not the word. It's not. It's
maudlin.
Yeah. But for me, I thought it was pretty emotionally invoking, and I'd say check it. I would say check it out, but it's almost gone from the movies now. But if it when it rolls out on video, it's worth a watch if you're in a mood to sniffle a little bit.
We'll wrap it up with a movie that gets a plus. A D plus.
Oh, I see what you did. All right.
This is a movie called The Loft. And this is based on... It's a remake of a Belgian film of the same name from 2008, which was written and directed by the same people that did this American version.
Okay.
In fact, one of the guys who's in it, who is Matthias Schoenaerts, he reprises his role from the original, and he's been popping up in trailers all over the place. Like he's kind of shown up. He's shown up in a lot of movies lately. Mm-hmm. So I guess maybe this is his big American break or whatever. But anyway, The Loft is basically 5 wealthy guys share a loft where they can basically cheat on their wives. The biggest red flag for me...
So they don't live there. This is kind of a bachelor.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Right.
Carl Urban's character is an architect, and he built this building, and he basically set this loft up for himself, and then said, "Hey, I'm going to include my buddies in on this."
Gotcha.
The biggest red flag in the movie to start is the fact that only one of them balks at the idea. I mean, they're all just kind of cheating on, fucking our wives, want to cheat on our wives. This has got a interesting cast because, like I said, it's got the guy Matthias Schoenaerts, who's international actor. Then you have 2 movie stars, Carl Urban and James Marsden is in this. James Marsden's the guy who balks at it at first. He's a
I mean, Kirk's stand-up guy.
Captain Kirk. James Marsden?
Oh wait, that's
Chris Pine. James Marsden's Cyclops. He's Cyclops, and who's also still a stand-up guy.
Still a stand-up guy, yeah.
And he plays a psychiatrist. He's married to Rona Mitra in this. She's in this as well. And so you have these 2 guys who are mainly in movies, and then you have Almost Human notwithstanding for Carl Urban. And then you have 2 guys who are TV actors, and Wentworth Miller, who was on Prison Break. He's now he shows up on Flash every now and then as Captain Cold. And then Eric Stonestreet, who is Cam from Modern Family. I'll get to their characters in a minute because their characters are hilarious for completely different reasons from the movie.
All right.
Basically, what happens is a girl who's played by Isabel Lucas, who is terrible in this movie. She's very pretty, but she's a very terrible actress in this. I don't know if it's because she's trying to hide her accent or what her deal is, but she's a terrible actress in this movie. This girl turns up dead in the loft. There's only 5 keys made. And basically the story is told through flashbacks and all this kind of stuff of who the girl is and where she came from and who killed her and all this kind of stuff.
It's Clue.
Sort of, yeah. Sort of. This movie is ridiculous. There's twist upon twist upon twist upon twist upon twist, and it's so implausible. And you're just like, this makes.
Is this like a skyscraper type of gated?
It's a high-rise building. Yeah, it's a high-rise building.
So this is like a penthouse type of thing?
Yes.
Interesting. Just use the video camera to figure out who was in the...
Interesting that plays a role.
Okay.
That plays a role.
That's all you got to do, really.
That plays a role. But not in the way you think.
Sure.
It's more sliver than security system.
Of course it is.
So... it's just so stupid. It's just so dumb, and it just piles on. Like James Marsden gets involved with this hooker that he falls in love with, and whatever. It's just dumb. It's just you don't care about any of these characters. You're just like, who gives a shit?
Right.
It's not unintentionally hilarious to the point like Boy Next Door was, so I couldn't even enjoy it on that level. I basically went to see this on a lark. I had like a free movie pass. I was like, I'm having a bad day. I'm gonna go see this piece of shit movie.
Yeah.
And it was a piece of shit. This cast is completely stranded here. What's hilarious about Wentworth Miller's character and Eric Stonestreet is that in real life, Wentworth Miller is out. He's gay. He's out in real life. And Eric Stonestreet plays gay on TV on Modern Family. He's Cam. He plays a gay guy. In this movie, both the cops and one of the guys says to Wentworth Miller's character, "Oh, but aren't you in love with Vincent?" or something like, "But aren't you gay?" He's like, for no reason whatsoever. It's just like,
throwing that
but
out
aren't you gay?
Just throwing that out there.
To the point where I thought he was going to go, I thought this guy was going to be, I'm not gay, guy. I'm not gay. It's like, why are you saying I'm gay? On the other end of the spectrum, you got Eric Stonestreet, who is, he's won multiple Emmys, and he is one of the gay guys on Modern Family. And the whole time, the filmmakers are like, he's straight. Like, he's like a womanizer. Yeah. He's just talking about titties all the time. It's like they're just like blaring out there. He's straight. Red Letter Media called it. They use this in their review of the new Star Trek movies. They call it a case of the not gays. They have to prove that he's not gay. So it's so stupid. Nice. And it's just stupid twist upon stupid twist piles up. And it's just like Boy Next Door. It's complete schlock. And the director is a guy named Eric Van Looy. And he, I know what he was trying to do, but he fails miserably at it. When they're being questioned by the police and stuff, he has these extreme close-ups on them. You're supposed to see how uncomfortable they are and stuff like that. And I'm just like, you just are a shitty cameraman.
Yeah,
this is just terrible. Good. It's just terrible.
I mean that is one of those telltale signs of a bad director.
Yeah,
when everything's a close-up shot, that's the telltale sign.
Carl Urban, I'm sure this man is wondering, when is this fucking Star Trek clout going to kick in? Because he's just getting screwed all over the place. I mean, he had Almost Human, which was a great sci-fi show on Fox, got canceled. Judge Dredd has found cult status, and they may do a sequel, but I know he was rumored for a while that they were going to possibly make him Batman. That didn't happen because they went with Ben Affleck. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously we haven't seen anything from Ben Affleck yet. I'm sure Ben Affleck's going to do a good job. Personally, I would have preferred Carl Urban because he's a little bit younger than Ben Affleck, I think. Mm-hmm. But he's the best part of the Star Trek, the new Star Trek movies, as Bones. He's the best part. He's the closest one to his original incarnation.
Damn it, Jim! I'm a doctor, not a killer.
And he just does a great job in those movies. I'm sure he's like, where is the bonus that Chris Pine's getting?
I was about to say maybe that's where I got that confusion.
Yeah, they're making him goddamn Jack Ryan. I mean, of course that failed, but they're making him Jack Ryan. They're making him this guy. Where's my gravy train?
Yeah.
James Marsden is completely bored in this movie. He's just got this look of confusion on his face. How did I end up here? I'm fucking Cyclops.
Yeah.
And then it went with Miller and Eric Stonestreet. I think they're just happy to be in the film. They're just happy to be in the film.
I'm off TV right now.
It's a terrible movie. It's terrible. For me, I thought it was going to be like Boy Next Door, where I was going to be oh, this is going to be hilarious. And there are a few moments where you're just like, that's terrible. But it's like what happens is there's this one party. There are these rich assholes. And they have all these white people problems. And then there's this one party where all the elements come together. And it's for no fucking reason. They just all are at this party. And everything all explodes on this party. You're just stupid. Terrible movie.
Right.
The Loft. Do not go see it.
Check it out. Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't go see it. And you know what? For a movie that was a rated R, supposed to be an erotic thriller type thing, I don't remember seeing any nudity in it either. I'm what the fuck? Really? It's what the fuck? It's how do you have a girl naked in bed killed? You don't even get to see nothing. It's this is stupid.
Well, while you were seeing this, I was seeing the 1980 classic Cannibal Holocaust. I think I made out better on that one than
you probably did.
Yeah.
So to recap quickly, because this episode's got out of control.
Yeah. Okay.
To recap, A Most Violent Year.
Yes.
Black Sea.
Yes.
And you're recommending Cake.
Yes.
Check those out. I'm recommending Boy Next Door if you just want to have an ironic laugh because it's terrible.
Right.
All the Seventh Son, The Loft, Mortdecai, Project Almanac. You can skip all those. All of them skip.
Terrible.
Don't even bother.
Terrible. Yep.
And that'll do it for this episode of the Hodgepodge podcast. And don't know what we're going to be doing next. It's still kind of up in the air.
I don't know, but I'm ready to move into spring.
Yeah, I know. There's the big movies that are coming out this upcoming weekend are going to be Kingsman, which we've already reviewed.
We already done that one.
And it feels like it came out like 1,000 years ago.
It seems like we saw that last year.
Like I'll be online and they're like clips from Kingsman. I'm like,
is this movie still out?
Yeah, they're like clips from Kingsman. I'm like, didn't that already come out? And then of course 50 Shades of Grey is coming out, which I read a great article on Gawker about the two of them. Jamie Dornan and what's her face? She's Griffith. She's Melanie Griffith's daughter. She's Dakota Johnson. She's Don Johnson and Melanie Griffith's daughter. And I read this article about how these two are doing this press tour, and it's like a complete disaster. And like you can tell they fucking hate each other. They don't like this. They know this movie's fucking terrible, and they're just like, "Why did I do this?" You know,
I love it.
And, oh my god, like he's been in like some other stuff, but this is like her this is like her big role. This is her big break, and it looks like it's gonna be a fucking disaster. But it's also like number one
draw. It'll get
early tickets for like the year so far.
It'll do fine. Numbers wise, it'll do fine because every red-blooded woman in the nation will want to go see it for some reason.
I mean, the thing that kills me about the thing I don't understand about it, and I haven't read the book, but I hear it's terrible. I hear the writer is terrible, but I haven't read the book, and I'm not going to go see the movie. But there's this thing online that you can find for free. It's called pornography.
Yeah,
and it's the same fucking thing. I mean, and it shows more because I from what I understand is. I don't know if this movie was going to be NC-17 and they had to cut it back. I think this was like a straight R, and you're just going to be like, I think fans of the book are probably going to be disappointed.
Yeah, even disappointed
in the softcore crap.
Of what they do here.
Yeah. But I will say this: if you want to see a BDSM movie that's really really good, go seek out Secretary with James Spader and Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Who, by the way, James Spader plays Mr. Grey.
That's right, he does. That is his name.
It's Mr. Grey. This is a knockoff story, folks.
I wonder. No, I'm serious. I'm wondering if she stole it from that because the movie.
There's no way that's a coincidence. That movie came out well before she published the book.
The book is, it's famously was Twilight fan fiction to begin with. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if she stole the name from Secretary.
I don't have a doubt in my mind. That's not a fucking coincidence. I mean, Secretary is about a masochistic.
Yeah.
Lawyer who has a secretary.
It's not BDSM because they don't do right. It's more
it's S&M. Not bondage.
It's S&M.
It's just
spanking and all that kind of stuff.
So but his name is Mr. Grey in the movie. The movie's actually pretty funny, pretty good. I mean, funny and ironical, like not. It's not outright funny.
Right.
It's if you got a certain sense of humor.
Yeah.
Anyway. He plays James Spader is Mr. Grey in that movie, which is a total knockoff. Which this is a total knockoff of.
So if you want to see some S&M movie, that's not porn, go check out Secretary. It's a delight.
Yeah.
And that'll do it for our commentary on 50 Shades of Grey. And we will see you next time.
Later.